Hey everyone, here's our daily meditation for the 1st of May 2020. We're coming to the end of another week of lockdown. God has been amazingly gracious to us over all these weeks, even though at times the constrictions that have been placed upon us can weigh heavily, can't they? Sometimes the hard thing is to keep these things in any sort of perspective, as we, of course, view our situations from a singular point of view, namely our own. In our verse today, we're going to hear from David in Psalm 31, where he notices our need to reinforce the truth of God's steadfast love as we evaluate our current situations, and in particular, how God's grace abounds through difficult times. The verse in question comes from Psalm 31, verse 21 and 22, and it says this: "Blessed be the Lord, for he has wondrously shown his steadfast love to me when I was in a besieged city. I had said in my alarm, I am cut off from your sight. But you heard the voice of my pleas for mercy when I cried to you for help." First, David relates the reality of difficult situations in the life of believers. Here, he was in a besieged city. Now, we have no way of knowing what he meant by this. Was it a literal situation or an expression of some other less tangible situation? Whichever it was real for him. And we do well to notice the many situations that we and other believers can be in at any time of life. Life can be tough, perhaps particularly for us who are strangers and exiles in this world. Second, we can see that this situation caused David to err in his estimation of how things stood. He rashly thought that he had been abandoned by God. He, like us, was fallible in the way we often interpret God's love and care for us in the light of our current situations. That's a mistake. Perhaps he couldn't see what God was doing in his current situation. Perhaps he was overwhelmed by emotions. We don't know. Thirdly, though, we see that David wisely, in his straitened circumstances, called out to God for mercy. C.H. Spurgeon likens prayer to crying. He says that it's something that we can do at any time, whether alone or in company, whether dressed in finery or in rags. It may not be a cheerful sound to hear someone crying, but it's something that we can all do. Lastly, we see the result, that God's wondrous loving kindness was shown again to David. In truth, of course, it never left. God doesn't change. Neither in his giving of good gifts is there even a shadow of turning. But David's eyes were opened, and he at least was changed in his situation. May our eyes be likewise opened to the constancy of God's love and care throughout our lives. God bless.